let's go ahead and start the Apex. So let me open the notepad and Word. So Umar replied that okay, he is following the tutorials and he is following the recorded sessions daily.
Oh, Oman.
Okay, fine. So let's start the Apex programming. Apex programming. Apex is a programming language. Okay, so first thing is that what we need Apex now, let's discuss. So in Salesforce.com, we have, I already told you, we have first thing is that what? Customization. Then administration. Then development. So development again in two ways. So first way is what? Through coding. People call it as scripting. So for doing the coding and scripting, you have Apex. So that means in the Salesforce, if you want to do the development, then there are two ways. So the first one is coding, or people call it as scripting. Then for that we are going to use the Apex. The second one is web page development. Web page design or development. So web page design or development, we already seen. What we will use for web page design or development? Visual Force. So for doing web page development or design, we use Visual Force. So now you can understand what is the Apex is. Apex is a coding language. Apex is a coding language used in the development in Salesforce. That means in the Salesforce, if you want to do the development through coding, then we are going to use the Apex programming language. Then, so that's about the Apex. Now, so if you look at here, what is Apex? Apex is a programming language to serve or Apex is a programming language to serve in cloud computing environment. So what does it mean? So if you look at this point, what I am trying to say is that Apex is a programming language to serve in cloud computing. So that means what? You can use Apex in any cloud computing programming language or in any cloud computing area. So right now we are using in the Salesforce. You can also use some other places also. That's what the meaning is. Now what is the Apex? What is the Apex? So if you look at the Apex definition, so the first one is Apex is object-oriented programming language. Apex is object-oriented programming language. So what is the object-oriented programming language? Anyone? What is the object-oriented programming language? Anyone? Okay, that's fine. So we'll discuss what is the object-oriented programming language in coming. So let it be that point. Then Apex is strongly strongly typed programming language or object-oriented programming language that runs on post.com. What does it mean? If you see this point, Apex is strongly typed programming language. So what does this mean? Strongly typed programming language. If you look at in the C language, I'm just writing an example of C language. If you look at in the C language, if you see float x is equal to 3.5 I am writing, or float x I have taken the variable. Then x is equal to 4.5 I am writing. Is this correct in C programming language? Is this correct in the C programming language? Shiva, Supreet?
Yes, correct.
So in the C programming language, I have written float x then x is equal to 4.5. Yes, correct. Now let me write same thing in the Java. Public class name is ABC. Then you will be having public static void main. You will be having public static void main. Public static void main. Then here also I am taking a variable called float x. Then if I write x is equal to 4.5, is this correct in Java? See, same thing. If you look at in the C language, I am trying to explain what is the meaning of strongly typed programming language. I am just giving this example. You can apply wherever you want. If tomorrow ABC programming language they say strongly typed, then you can visualize this example. Tomorrow if XY language, if they say strongly typed programming language, then you can visualize this example. So if you look at in the C language, float x is equal to 4.5 and float x is equal to 4.5. Same thing I am writing in the Java. Float x is equal to 4.5. In the Java, it is wrong. In the C language, it is correct. In the C language, it is correct. Now, can you tell me why this is correct in the C language or why this is wrong? Do you understand what is happening here? Why this is wrong in Java? Anyone? Do you understand why that is wrong in Java?
No. The data type we have in Java.
Yeah, float is there.
Okay.
Float is there, double is there, all these things are there. Now let me tell you the scenario. You need to understand some conclusion here. This is one of the excellent conclusion. Most of the people is using without understanding that conclusion. So this 4.5 or 5.5, all these things are what? Real numbers. 4.5, 3.5, all these are real numbers. So in the programming languages, I am saying in the programming languages, that does not mean that okay, this C language or Java language, any language. In programming languages, all real numbers which have dot, numbers which have decimal, numbers which have decimal point, all real numbers by default double. That is what the meaning. Now if you look at here, I just written 4.5. That means it is double. Here I just written 4.5. That means this is double. So what I have written in C language? What I have written in C language? Float x is equal to or x is equal to 4.5 I have written. So left side is what? Floor. Right side is what? 4.5. That means number with decimal point. Number with decimal point are by default double. So that means this is double data type. So therefore there is a left side, right side data mismatch. Therefore there is a left side, right side data mismatch. So still C language allows us. Still C language allows us. That's why C language is called loosely coupled programming language. Loosely coupled. Loosely coupled programming language. But if you come to Java, same statement is written. So x is equal to 4.5. Left side is what? So right side is what? Double. So therefore there is a data type mismatch between left side and right side. And it is going to throw the error. It is going to throw the error. That's why it is called strongly typed language. Strongly typed programming language. That means the conversions are very strong. It is not going to allow this kind of data, this kind of expressions. So therefore, if you see, Apex is also strongly typed programming language. Apex is a strongly typed programming language. That's why these kind of stuffs are not allowed in the Apex. That means data type checking is very strong. Data type checking is very strong in the Apex. So therefore, Apex is a strongly typed programming language. Like that, plenty of the examples are there to prove that, but one example is fine if you want to explain to someone else. Next, Apex is used to add programmatic. Apex is used to add programmatic business logic to application or in application. That means what? Apex is used to add programmatic business logic. That means if you want to write business logic, then you can use the Apex. Now we have Visual Force. With Visual Force, you are able to create the UI. With Visual Force, you are able to create the UI. But you did not write the business logic. So if you want to write the business logic, then go for Apex. And this series, Apex is strongly typed programming language that runs on Force.com. What does that mean? Let's say you are writing a Java program. Where it runs? If you want to run this, you require what? JVM, Java Virtual Machine. There is a runtime environment for your Java program. If you are writing a .NET program, where it runs? .NET program, where it runs? Okay. So if you see, I am writing a Java program. If I want to run it, I need JVM. Then I am writing a .NET program. If I want to run it, what do I need? What do I need? Common language runtime, CLR. Okay, common language runtime. So the same way, if I am writing a Apex, then Apex programs are going to run in Force.com. That's what the meaning is. So if you are writing a Java program, JVM is required. If you are writing a .NET program, then CLR is required. If you are writing a Apex program, then it is going to run on Force.com. So therefore, Apex programs runs on Force.com. Therefore, Apex programs runs on Force.com. That's what the name is. Next, Apex enables developer to write the business logic. That's what we already seen. Okay. So these are the major steps. So Apex is the object-oriented programming language. It runs on Force.com. It is this strongly typed programming language. It is used to write the business logic. So now the next thing is that how does Apex work? So let's see how Apex works. That means let's say you are writing an Apex program, how it works. If you want to understand that, let's see the architecture. Here is that. How does Apex work? So let me take the briefing of this. So this is how Apex works. Now let's discuss what is happening here. Let's discuss what is happening here. Let's say you are the developer. There are two ways again, developer and end user. You are the developer. If you are the developer, what you do? You write the Apex program. Once you write the Apex program, what you do? Your program will be transferred to cloud environment, or your program will move to internet, or your program will move to force.com platform via internet. Your program will move to force.com via internet. Once it comes to force.com, there will be something called Apex compiler that compiles your Apex program. Once it is moved to force.com, there will be something called Apex compiler that compiles your Apex program. Once it is compiled, then it is going to store in the database. Once it is compiled, then it is going to be stored in the database. And you will get the, if there is any error in the compilation, then you will receive the error, compiler error. If no error, then you will be getting the result. Or, let's say end user. End user is not going to write the program. What he is going to do? He will follow the result. Can you go for mute? Okay, so end user is not going to write the program. What he will do? He just requests for the result. So he requests for the result over the internet, and there is something called Apex runtime. Apex runtime, which will go and talk to the database and get the corresponding Apex page results, get the corresponding Apex compiled results, and return to the end user. So therefore, conclusion is Apex, where it is compiled in the force.com. Where it is stored in the force.com. Where it is running from the force.com. So therefore, conclusion is Apex is compiled, stored, run on force.com. So these 3 points are very much important. So people are asking where Apex runs. Apex runs in force.com. Where is Apex stored? Force.com. Where Apex compiles? Force.com. So inside the force.com there is something called application server. Inside the application server there is something called Apex compiler that compiles your program. Inside the application server there is Apex runtime which helps you to get the Apex results. Apex results. That's how Apex works. So the next thing is that when should we use Apex? That is the next question. So when to use Apex or when to use Apex? So as I said, Apex is a programming language. You can use it to create web services. Next, you can use it to create email services. And I already told you, it is used to create the business logic. Okay, you can use it to write custom logic, business logic, custom logic, and like that, so on, so. So if you want to write the business logic, if you want to write the custom logic, if you want to create email services, if you want to create web services, then go for the Apex. That's what the meaning is. Now, I already told you, if you see here, I said Apex is the object-oriented programming language. Then now question is, what is object-oriented programming language? What is object-oriented programming? This term you are hearing from long time. Java is object-oriented programming. .NET is object-oriented programming. Your ABAP is object-oriented programming. Your Apex is also object-oriented programming. Now, what is the object-oriented programming? It's very simple, straightforward. Instead of one person do entire development, or instead of one person carries the development, or instead of one person do entire task, splitting into the task and giving to multiple objects is called object-oriented programming. The meaning is the process of dividing the problem into group of objects with interactions among them is called object-oriented programming. So if you look at here, I said, let's say we have a task. Let me put the diagram. Let's say we have a task. So what is the object? You are called object, I am called object, everyone is called object. Okay, that's not one. Now assume that instead of, let's say there is a task. Instead of task carried by one person, divide the task into set of objects. Divide the problem into set of objects. Divide the problem into group of objects. So object 1, object 2, object 3. So let's say this is object 1 and this is object 2 and this is object 3. Divide the problem into group of objects. This is object 3. Divide the problem into group of objects. If you look at here, what is the definition I have written? The process of dividing problem into group of objects. So there is a process or there is a task. Now I divide into group of objects. Then, so if I divide the problem into group of objects, it's not object-oriented programming. These objects must communicate each other. That means there should be interaction from here to here. There should be some interaction from here to here. There should be some interaction from here to here. There should be some interaction from here to here. So then it is called object-oriented programming. So therefore, objects should communicate each other. So if you divide a problem into group of objects, that's not object-oriented programming. These objects has to communicate each other. Then it is called object-oriented programming. Then it is called object-oriented programming. If you look at the diagram, whatever we have here, so the problem is divided into group of objects. So here objects are 3. Now each object is able to communicate each other. So that's called object-oriented programming. So therefore, process of dividing problem into group of objects with interactions among them is called OOP, object-oriented programming. Now next question is, what is object-oriented technology? What is object-oriented programming? I said. What is the object-oriented technology? So it is object-oriented technology is the one what we use. So therefore, it is a software technology, constructed software will have objects in it. So whatever software technology we use is called a C. Let's say what is the object-oriented programming, object-oriented technology? Object-oriented technology is a software technology which uses or which will have objects in it. That means using object-oriented programming. That means using object-oriented programming. If you write something, if you write some software, then that is called object-oriented technology. That's why constructed software will have objects in it. Constructed software will have objects in it. So therefore, for object-oriented programming technology, object-oriented programming is mandatory. That means if you write a software using object-oriented programming, then you call it as you are using object-oriented technology. Now the conclusion is object-oriented programming is a concept. If any programming language implements those concepts, then it is called as object-oriented programming language. Please look at this conclusion. What is the conclusion here? Object-oriented programming is a concept. If any programming language implements that, then it is called object-oriented programming language. You see here, Java is a programming language. Java is a programming language, and it is implementing object-oriented programming concept. That's why it is called as object-oriented programming language. Your Apex is a programming language. Your Apex is a programming language. It implements OOP, object-oriented programming. That's why Apex is also called as object-oriented programming language. Apex is also called as object-oriented programming language. Now I said object-oriented programming is a concept. So what are the concepts inside that? That's the next question. What OOP says? OOP has. What object-oriented programming has? So object-oriented programming will have objects, classes, inheritance, then abstraction, encapsulation, then was message passing, inheritance, abstraction, encapsulation, then message passing. Message passing. These are the some of the concepts. If you look at here, these are the some of the concepts part of object-oriented programming. These are the some of the concepts part of object-oriented programming. So therefore, if any programming implements these concepts, then it is called the object-oriented programming language. Then it is called object-oriented programming language. Can you go for it? Okay. Okay, fine. So object-oriented programming have objects, classes, inheritance, abstraction, encapsulation, message passing. If any programming language implements these concepts, then it is called object-oriented programming language. Your Apex implements all these things. Your Apex have all these things. That means in the Apex programming there will be an object, there will be a class, there will be inheritance, there will be abstraction, there will be encapsulation, there will be message passing, all these things. That's why your Apex is called object-oriented programming language. Now, what is the object, what is the class, what is the inheritance, what is the abstraction, what is the encapsulation, what is the message passing, all these things. What is the object? I don't want to spend more time because it's a object-oriented programming itself is a big concept. So it will take, for me, it will take 4 days to explain all these things. Minimum, it will take 4 days to explain all these things. So therefore, I will explain high level. So what is the object? Anything exists in the real world. With state and behavior. With state and behavior is called object. What does it mean? So you are called as object, I am called as object. This laptop is called as object. Book is called object. Pen is called object. So therefore, anything exists in the real world is called object with state and behavior. So what does it mean? State is nothing but properties. State is nothing but properties. That means what? So if you take me, I have a state. If I take you, you have a state. State represents the properties. What are the properties you have? You have height, weight, color, all these things. Then what are the properties of laptop? It has a color, it has a width, it has a wide, height, all these things. Okay? And behavior. What does it mean? Let's say if someone comes to you and if they beat you, what do? You again beat them. That's the behavior. That's the behavior. So therefore, let's take this laptop. If you hit this laptop, then your glass, the laptop glass may broken. That's the behavior. So therefore, anything exists in the real world, which state and behavior is called object. If there is no state and behavior, then it is not called object. So any object will have state and behavior. That means any object will have properties and methods. Behaviors are nothing but methods. State is nothing but properties. So any object, if you take, in Java, let's say you are creating the object. That means it has properties and methods. It has properties and methods. So there is a lot to explain on this, but if you give this definition, that is fine for me. Because it will take 1 day for me to explain about object. I don't want to spend that much of time. So therefore, if you understand this definition, that's fine for me. Anything exists in the real world with state. State means properties. And behavior means methods is called object. Now, what is the abstraction? What is the abstraction? So if you take the object, please listen here. If you take object, what are the different properties? Or any object will have, look at this. Any object will have state and behavior. So let's say I am the object, what are the state or what are the properties of me? I have height, I have color, I have, what is that? Height, color, length, okay, hands, so on so, or hands height, so on so. That's what. If you see, if anyone miss if anyone miss, right, then they'll give some hints. So on so person missed, and he has color is equal to brown, height is equal to 4.3 and all. That means there is nothing but the state. There is nothing but the state. And I have so many behaviors like sleeping, talking. These means methods. Writing. All these things are the methods. Now let me explain you in terms of programming. Let's take the student object. Student object. What are the student properties? Okay, marks. Okay, roll number. Then student father name, student mother name, address. Like there, so many methods are there, so many properties are there for student object. Then methods are what? Calculate grade, calculate percentage, total. Like there are so many methods are there. Let's say if I am implementing a project, am I need to consider all these things? No need. Let's say if I am implementing a project, am I need to consider all these things? No need. Please say this. If you look at here, there are so many properties. If you look at here, there are so many methods. Let's say I am implementing a project for JNU. Do I need to consider all these things? Father name, mother name, address, all these things? No need. You can select what you need. Do I need to consider all these things? No need. You can select what you need. That's called abstraction. So therefore, abstraction is nothing but showing essential features and hiding non-essential is called abstraction. So let's say for implementing a JNU project, mother name is not required. Okay, mother name is not required, father name is only required. That means what? Showing essential features. That means I am selecting mark, roll number, father name and address. Showing essential features and hiding non-essential features. I hided what? Mother name, all these things. Is called abstraction. That means what? Select exactly what you need. Select exactly what you need is called abstraction. Okay, select exactly what you need for that project is called abstraction. Now, to implement JNU project, I need grade calculation. I don't want to calculating percentage. So therefore, showing essential features, hiding non-essential. So calculating percentage is hidden. Is called abstraction. That means select exactly what you need is called abstraction. Select exactly what you need is called abstraction. So there is a lot to explain, but on a high level that is fine for me, or that is fine for you. Because we are not learning object-oriented programming. So that's what I said, if I want to explain all these concepts, it will take minimum 4 days. Now what is the encapsulation? What is the encapsulation? Okay, so what is the encapsulation? Grouping data and member functions. Let me bring this. Yeah. So I explained you what is a abstraction. Select exactly what you need is called abstraction. Now I have data, I have member functions, I have properties, and I have methods. So grouping data and member functions together is called grouping data and member functions together is called encapsulation. What does it mean? Through abstraction, we are able to identify essential properties, essential methods. Then grouping together, grouping all these together is called encapsulation. That means what? Putting your data and member functions in one place, or using your data and member functions in the programming is called encapsulation. Okay, so therefore grouping data and grouping related data and member functions. Let me put it that way. Grouping related data and member functions is called encapsulation. Member functions means methods is called encapsulation. It's called encapsulation. Now, any questions in the abstraction and encapsulation? Abstraction is nothing but selecting what exactly you need is called the abstraction. Select exactly what you need is called abstraction. Once you select it, keeping related data and member functions together. Keeping related data and member functions together is called encapsulation. And there is a lot to explain on this, but that is fine for me. Now, what is a class? What is a class? What is a class? Please remember this. To implement abstraction and encapsulation, we require class. Okay, if no class, or to do abstraction and encapsulation, we require class. We require class. So now what is a class? So class is a data type. Is a data type, or it is a prototype, or it's a model, or it's a keyword. It's a keyword. Class is a prototype, or data type, or model, or is a keyword. So what does it mean? Please listen this. If I take student, or let's say take the speech. Speech is a class or object? It's a class. Then co-op. In the speech, one of the flavor is co-op. It's an object. So in the speech, one of the thing is jalebi. Jalebi, it is called object. So therefore, class is the data type only. So our class is the idea. Speech is the idea. If you, let's say the simplest way is that if your mother is asking, go and get the speech from Pularadi stall. Will you go directly? You will not go. Then immediately you will ask a question, what kind of speech you want? Because speech is the idea. There is no physical form for the speech. There is no physical form for the speech. It's just an idea. Speech is the, or class is the idea. There is no physical form. So implementing speech in one flavor is called the kova. Implementing the speech in another flavor is called the jalebi. So therefore, if you look at here, the simplest way, you need to understand this way. If your mother asks, go and get the flowers from the market, will you go directly? No. Immediately you will ask, what kind of flowers you want. So therefore, it's an idea. Flower is the idea. Flower is the idea. That means it is a class. From the flower, One of the flower is what? Rosette. Rosette flowers. So that's called object. Then what are the flowers? What are the different flowers? Rosette flowers. Then what are the flowers we have in the market? Lotus flowers. That's called object. So therefore, if you look at here, class does not exist, but object exists. If I say speech, speech exists? No, speech does not exist. If I say cover, then only it exists. That's why I call it as it's a model, it's a data type, it's a keyword, it's an idea. Please see this. Class does not exist. Only objects exist. Class is the idea. The implementation of idea is nothing but object. Speech is the idea. Implementation of speech is called COVA. That's called object. Speech is the idea. Implementation of that speech is jalebi. That's nothing but object. Now I'll ask a question. Class takes memory, yes or no? Supreet Shiva. Class takes memory, yes or no?
None.
Class will not take the memory. Yes. Class will not take the memory. The reason is, it's an idea. It's a model. But object takes memory because object is the cover. Where you keep the cover? You will keep the cover inside a plate. That means it is taking the memory. It is taking the memory. So therefore, what is the object? Anything exists in the real world which has the properties and methods is called the object. So what is a class? It's an idea, it is a data type, it is a prototype, it is a model, it is a keyword. It will not take the memory. It will not take the memory. Okay, so that's about the class and object and abstraction and encapsulation. Now what is the inheritance? What is the inheritance? What is the inheritance? Let's say, let's take Supreet. So people call it as you are getting you have more similarities from your mother, or you have more similarities from your father. What does it mean? You are getting some of the properties from your mother. You are getting some of the properties from your father. That's called inheritance. People say your nose is similar to your mother. Your nose is similar to your mother. That means what? It is inheritance. Your nose properties are inherited from your mother. So therefore, what is the inheritance? The process of developing a new class by extending existing class is called inheritance. So if you look at here, the process of developing, so let's say you are there, or let's say I am there, and let's say here my father. Okay, so therefore if you look at here, people say you are having similar properties, or your nose is similar to your father, your height is similar to your father, your behavior is similar to your father. That means what? I got properties or methods from my father. That's called inheritance. So that's what, if you see here, developing a new class by extending existing class is called inheritance. That means existing class is what? My father, and I am here. So I am getting some of the stuff from my father. That's called inheritance. That's called inheritance. So getting the new steps or creating a new class by extending existing class. That means whatever existing class is having will be available for you. One second. Okay, so that's called inheritance. Message passing. What is the meaning of message passing? If you look at here, take this one. I am the object and you are the object and Shiva is the object. Between you and me or between Shiva and Supreet, is there data exchanged? Absolutely yes. That's called message passing. That means, let's say in the object-oriented programming, there will be objects. In the object-oriented programming, there will be objects. Each object communicate each other by passing the messages. I am the object, you are the object. I am the object, you are the object. Are we communicating each other? See, I am delivering the content. I am explaining the effects. You are able to listen. So how are we communicating? By passing the data or by exchanging the data. By passing the messages. I am passing the messages. By passing the messages, you and me are communicating each other. That's called message passing. That's called message passing. So therefore, message passing means what? In the object-oriented programming, we will be having objects, and each object communicate each other by passing the messages. That's what I said. You are the object, I am the object. We are communicating each other through messages, by exchanging the messages. So whatever I am talking is called a message. So therefore, by passing the messages, each object or objects can talk together. So message passing is also part of object-oriented programming. Then there will be one more thing called polymorphism. There is one more thing called polymorphism. There is one more thing called polymorphism. Now, what is a polymorphism? So, you might have been seen the best example from the movies also for the polymorphism, right? So, what is a polymorphism? What is a polymorphism? So, I said you are the object, and I am the object. You are the object and I am the object. Poly means many, morphism means forms. If you look at here, poly means many, morphism means forms. That means many forms is nothing but polymorphism. Morphism. Okay, morphism. Okay, that's fine. Now look at here. Polymorphism. So poly means many, morphism means forms. Many forms. Many forms is nothing but polymorphism. What does that mean? I am the object, you are the object. Now, you are behaving, let's say I am, so how am I with my manager? And how am I with you? And how am I with my parents? So if you look at here, when I talk to my manager, I'm so polite, or I be in different way. When I talk to you, I be in different way. When I talk with my parents, I be in different way. I'm not same with my manager and with you and my parents. Look at this one. Or how am I with my teacher? My teacher. Okay, so look at this one. If you look at here, am I saying how I am with my manager, how I am with you, how I am with my parents, how I am with my teacher? No. If I am with my manager, let's say I am XYZ way. If I am with you, let's say I am in ABC way. If I am with my parents, then I am so calm. If I am with my teacher, so if I am with you, I am so talkative. If I am with my manager, I just listen. If I am with you, I talk to you a lot. If I am with my parents, I am so calm. If I am with my teacher, it's like, again, exchanging. I talk and teacher talks. Both. Or all. Let me put all. That means what? Same object behaving differently at different situations. If you look at here, I am with my manager. When I am with my manager, I am just listening mode. When I am with you, I am just talking mode. If I am with my parents, just calm. If I am with my teacher, then I do all. That means what? Same object behaving differently at different situations. That is called polymorphism. That is called polymorphism. So therefore, if anything behaves differently at different situations, then it is called polymorphism. It is simple, straightforward. If anything behaves differently at different situations, then it is called polymorphism. I am behaving differently at different situations. If manager, I am like this. If with you, I am like this. If with my parents, I am like this. If with my teacher, I am like this. So, if anything behaves differently at different situations, then it is called polymorphism. Then it is called polymorphism. So therefore, if XXX behaves differently, if XXX behaves differently in different situations, then it is called polymorphism. If XXX behaves differently at different situations, then it is called polymorphism. That means what? Let's see the example. Add method. Let's say add method. So, let's say you are writing an add method to add two numbers. Then it is 30. I am writing an add method 10, 20, 30. Result is 60. Let's say Shiva is writing an add method with 4 numbers. So if you look at here, method is what? Add only. But you are adding 2 numbers. I am adding 3 numbers. And Shiva is adding 4 numbers. That means same add method behaving differently at different situations. That's why this is called polymorphism. Okay, say hi to all. Say bye. Please look at here. There is an add method. Here it is adding 2 numbers. Here it is adding 3 numbers. Here it is adding 4 numbers. That means same add method behaving differently in different situations. That's why it is called as polymorphism. So if XXX behaves differently in different situations, then it is called polymorphism. So this method is polymorphism. Now let's take example. 20 plus 30 is equal to what? 50. 21 point plus 31.1. It is equal to 50.2. Channa plus Reddy is equal to Channa Reddy. Now look at this one. Plus is what? Operator. Here it is adding 2 natural numbers. Here it is adding 2 real numbers. Here it is adding 2 strings. That means same plus is behaving differently in different situations, then it is called polymorphism. So here Method polymorphism, here operator polymorphism. Because plus is the operator. Here plus is the method. Here method is behaving differently at different situation. That's why it is called as method polymorphism. Here operator is behaving differently at different situation. That's why it is called operator polymorphism. Operator polymorphism. So like that, plenty of the examples are there. So let me not go there. Okay, now polymorphism is two types: dynamic polymorphism and static polymorphism. Okay, so we have two flavors: static polymorphism. So the example is overloading. Then there is dynamic polymorphism. That is nothing but overriding. This we will discuss in coming days. Overloading or overriding. Static polymorphism is also called as overloading. It's also called as compile time polymorphism. Compile time polymorphism, or this is also called as early binding. Dynamic polymorphism is called as overriding. It is also called as runtime polymorphism. Runtime polymorphism or late binding. Late binding. So therefore we will see with the programming what is the meaning of overloading and overriding and all. But whenever we talk about overloading, whenever we talk about overriding, those are part of polymorphisms. Those are part of polymorphisms. If you remember all the things, then we are good. Any questions till now? If no questions, we can stop here and we can continue tomorrow with the Apex programming elements, Apex identifiers, Apex data types, Apex conversations, rules, all these things will start. And Apex if else, all these things will start. Any questions?
No, fine.
There is a lot to explain on object-oriented programming. I just gone through high level. To explain.